Hi, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everybody. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forum's 126th episode of LinkedIn Live Sesh series. Today, we are discussing on the topic of physiology of persuasion, engaging with your audience subconsciously. And we have the honor of having Radhika Bali, who's an image sculptor. And without further ado, let's welcome Radhika onto our show. Hi Radhika, welcome to our
Hi,
show.
Prem. Good evening,
Good
and
evening.
thank you. It's wonderful to be here again.
Welcome Radhika. Let's dive into our topic that we are talking about, Radhika. Physiology of persuasion, engaging your audience subconsciously.
Hmm.
How would you define physiology of persuasion and why is it essential in today's business scenario?
Well, Prem, we all want to be present, right? We all want to be noticed, to be seen, to be heard.
Hmm.
So, the psychology of persuasion involves understanding how to influence people's attitude, belief, and behavior. It taps into the cognitive biases that we all have, into the emotions and the social dynamics to guide decision making processes. In today's business environment, persuasion is crucial because it can drive sales, foster leadership, improve negotiations, outcomes, and enhance team dynamics as well. With competition intensifying across industries these days, everywhere there is a rat race and there's a cutthroat competition going on. So the ability to persuade effectively can differentiate successful professionals and organizations from the rest of them.
As you read, it is a rat race everywhere, right? So it is not only at the professional front, even the local vendors and the people around also are running it to achieve something and great things. Now, what are the basic or core principles persuasion happens at that every professional or fresher or a CEO should understand?
So, talking about the core principles of persuasion, let me quote the psychologist Robert Seidelin here. No, what's his name? Uh, Cialdini. Sorry for getting the name wrong. Some of these names are very difficult to pronounce and remember. But according to him, which I read it in one of his books and I found it very interesting, and I just took a note of some of that to remember forever. He talks about six principles, the core principles of the fundamental or the functional foundational techniques of persuasion, which are reciprocity, where people do return your favors, providing valuable first, being the first one, can encourage the others to reciprocate. They will somewhere in their mind remember that, okay, he did this for me then, and he is in need. Maybe I can help
Hmm.
him in some way. Maybe I can give him some referrals, or so anywhere, any which way a person can reciprocate. That is, reciprocity is the first core. Then he talks about commitment and consistency, where once people commit to something, they must stick to it, and they should stay consistent in their work with their commitments. If you're not consistent in what you're doing and you're not sticking to your commitments, also affects your credibility as a professional. Then the social proof. We all want validation, right? We all talk about validating ourselves, asking for validations from people. So people look at others for guidances, especially in certain situations, showing that others have made a certain choice can be influential. Um, the fourth he talks about is authority. People respect and follow credible experts. So, when you show your credibility through your commitment, consistency, and your social proof, you gain some kind of authority. So, establishing expertise can enhance your persuasive powers. Then is liking. We at times, or rather most of the times, knowingly, unknowingly, are very judgmental. We create or form an impression about somebody, and we, based on those biases and judgments of our own minds, we decide whether we want to work with somebody or not, or if somebody is
Mm.
capable of doing a particular thing or not. So people are easily persuaded by those they like,
Okay.
and they want to follow them. So building a rapport and finding a common ground helps a lot in your work in enhancing influence.
Hmm.
Then creating scarcity. So scarcity is the last or the sixth core principle that he talks about.
Okay.
So items and opportunities both are seen to be more valuable when they are perceived to be scarce. You run after the opportunities that you feel may not be there for too long or may be
Mm.
taken away by somebody. So, highlighting the uniqueness or the limited availability can drive to actions.
So you listed a lot of things from the core principles. How do we get these principles? Is there anything that we can refer for the audience as a text or something? We'll share a link post this session. Can you put some pointers on subconscious engagement, works that provide an example for effective techniques?
So, effective engagement, talking about an example,
Hmm.
Steve Jobs is a very good example of it.
Okay.
When he launched his iPads, no, sorry, AirPods,
Hmm.
you know. So if you remember seeing those ads with loud and clear crystal music, or listening to people, and
Hmm.
there is voice cancellation and
Yeah.
you're not getting disturbed, and then everybody is wearing it. So the ad was one thing, and while he introduced it, he made people use it at that
Hmm.
very moment. So engaging with people, with the target audience, while he was still introducing a new thing into the market, made a lot of people go for it and
Yeah.
buy it, resulting which today we see every second person wearing an AirPod and walking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the things that can really help you engage, according to me, with people, with your clients, with your colleagues, or your bosses or subordinates is uh, so there are different forms. So, storytelling is one of the forms of it,
Hmm.
where if you share a story of yours or somebody's, which is which is a true story, you know, your emotions also come into it,
Hmm.
and people are able to connect with you easily. They can relate to the stories, as we have all grown up listening to stories from our grandparents.
Yeah.
So that is a very good tool for engagement. Then
Hmm.
we must also take care of the non-verbal cues,
Yes. Yes. Okay.
the body language, the facial expressions. How is somebody talking, the tone of the person, the pitch, the volume, the speed in which the person is saying something. So all these non-verbal cues also help you build your engagement with your audience or with the person you're talking to.
Okay.
Priming
Hmm.
is another thing where subtle cues or words can influence people's thoughts and behavior without their conscious awareness. So, it stays in the back of your mind. And so for this, I have this example of a chartered accountant, or rather,
Hmm.
an accounts manager of a company was traveling for work, and he had to go to different branches, and there were less people in the company. So along with accounts, he was also taking care of marketing, and you all have to meet your sales target and
Hmm.
everything. In this process, he forgot about his own filing of taxes,
Okay.
and maybe paying for some insurance claims and all of that.
Hmm.
While he was still away, somebody in his family met with an accident and
Hmm.
had to be rushed to the hospital. When they went to the hospital,
Hmm.
and they had to, they said that, okay, we have a medical insurance. But
Hmm.
when they checked, the insurance had lapsed, and
Oh.
the problems they went through, and then the financial problems that they had, and the big amounts that he had to pay, all of this made him understand that yes, I must plan my things properly, whether it is finances or anything. So I
Hmm.
was told this story about 2 3 years back by one of the financial advisors, and this story has, at that point, I was probably not even listening to him and wondering ki kya hai, why is he even talking about this story with me.
Hmm.
But subconsciously it stayed in my mind somewhere that the minute financial year ends, I start fretting about, and this story comes back to my head, and I start fretting about and calling up my CA ki mera claim file karna hai, mera, you know. So
Hmm.
priming helps this way. Certain things that consciously or unconsciously, you not being aware of it, they stay in your subconscious minds,
Hmm.
and they help you engage and connect with the people at the right time. Then repetition, repeating key messages to reinforce,
Okay.
also plays a very important role by putting it in the subconscious mind. So yeah, that is how engaging, I mean, a few techniques that I follow for engaging, and which have been very helpful for me.
Uh, in a real world scenario, can you share a case study where subconscious engagement led to a significant success from a business context? How it helped uh, get a contact or a context, to be very specific.
Yeah, so I just spoke about Steve Jobs. So
Hmm.
let us
Yeah. Please
continue
go.
with the same story as a case study where
Hmm.
uh, the iPods, the Apple is a well-known company. Everybody knows about Apple, and the iPods. There was a market strategy for the iPods. So Apple used minimalistic ads
Hmm.
with simple, repetitive imagery of people enjoying the product,
Yeah.
combined with catchy music.
Hmm.
This approach created strong emotional association with the fun and simplicity,
Okay.
and engaging the audience subconsciously. So with listening to music or having fun and all of that, as a result, the iPod became a cultural phenomena and dominated the market.
True. True. Yeah. So on a daily way, how common challenges professionals face in effective persuasion with their audience and
Uh,
how they overcome.
so the common challenges, Prem, I feel the most common and the biggest challenge probably is lack of trust.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
building credibility and trust is very essential.
Hmm.
Professionals can overcome this by demonstrating expertise, being transparent,
Hmm.
and delivering consistent results.
Okay.
Then is resistance to change. We
Hmm.
are at times very stubborn, and with the changing times, some of us still feel that no, old school is the way of doing things. We don't want to change.
Yeah.
So, resistance to change is another problem that we face, and people often resist to new ideas. All of
Hmm.
us do. According to our children, especially, we resist to a lot of new ideas, or to the young adults,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
freshers in the companies feel that. So, addressing this query very empathetically, understanding their side, their point of view, and where is it coming from,
Hmm.
um, and gradually introducing the new concepts, so that they feel that okay, we are not only heard, but whatever we say also has some value to it. Then information overload with internet, with social media, with mobiles, with WhatsApp. There's a lot of information that keeps flowing in, and it becomes difficult to really believe what is right and what is not, what to believe and what not to believe. So in a world of information overload, clear and concise messaging is something that would really help.
Hmm.
Simplifying the messages and focusing on key points instead of
Okay.
beating around the bush and going in circles. And then the emotional disconnect, which we are so used to the technology and to this fast pacing world that we do not really have time for people. We don't really want to sit and talk with them, listen to them, connect with
Oh,
them.
I think today's generation is like that. I think, Radhika. See, if
Yes,
you look at home, you are there at home, you are present at home. But what so happens is, I'll take a case of my sister who stays in the US. She was telling kids are on the mobile. They send you a message. What's there for breakfast today? They're sitting in the same.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, and is there any plan for tonight? Is a message.
Hmm.
Now people sitting in four rooms are messaging each other, not coming and out and talking. That's the way things have happened, is what I feel, and I've seen this.
Not
So,
only not only that, Prem, despite asking on a WhatsApp message what's there for meals or what's there for breakfast,
mhm.
even if the doorbell rings, they'll message you, please open the door. Or if they want something, they'll tell you, I am tired, please give it to me, please give me food on my bed or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
They will, and if you are genuinely tired or not feeling well, is not their problem, because they want
they're
their
not.
things on
Exactly.
time.
Yes,
So that
true.
I think is a very big issue, which uh, olden days they used to say a family that eats together stays together.
Yes, together.
So
Yeah.
everybody used to come on the dining table, have the meal together, have discussions on the dining table. But now everybody is sitting in their own rooms with their own plates and eating, and there is no time to connect emotionally with each other or bond with each other as a family.
I remember one video about Jackie Shroff saying in one of the this one, when he was in the small house, they used to sleep in one room, and anybody screaming or even coughing, they would know. what is happening.
Absolutely.
And they used to ask ma kya hua or
Hmm.
beta kya hua and stuff like that. And eventually we grow, and our one room became five room and six room kind of a house. And we built walls. We did not hear what the other person is doing. And my mom passed away on the bed, where we did not know also when she passed away, when we went to her room.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's one statement what he had made, and that kindly touched, because today persuading a person to do something is a bigger task.
It's a very big challenge.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Making them understand the emotional connect itself is a big challenge.
challenge. And you need to stress that everything is, that there is something here. It has become what is in for me first, then they talk about what is to be there. The persuasion quotient is become very very short, where you say this is what interests you, this is where we stick on, and this is where you have a benefit. If there is no benefit, they don't want to talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
if we talk about, we initially there used to be joint families, then became nuclear. Now, within
Nuclear.
a nuclear family, everybody is a separate, different individual. I remember as a child, we used to have these, we used to call it Preeti Bhoj, but there was a day fixed in a month where the entire family, all the cousins, grandparents, nieces, nephews, everybody would get together and we would have potluck. So during the potluck, they would take out a slip of whose house is it going to be next time.
Oh
We
yeah.
used to ensure that festivals, we all meet and we celebrate festivals together, even Rakhi. You
Hmm.
know, the entire family used to be at one place, so all the cousins tying Rakhis to each other. These days, kids have started sending Rakhi to their own brother sisters on WhatsApp or an e
Yeah.
Rakhi. I
Hmm.
don't understand the concept of e
But there is
Rakhi.
no emotional connect there. Yeah, you are right
Absolutely.
in saying it. Hmm. Now, coming to the point there, this is one thing that how can leaders use this to inspire and motivate teams? Because now at home only we are not able to take so many things. Now, coming to larger organizations, how is that, especially when we talk about an issue, there's more resistance in persuasion, right? So, how can leaders use persuasion to inspire and motivate their teams, especially during challenging times?
So I feel empathy plays a very big role here.
Hmm.
And the way they used to say, that a leader is not a leader who commands, but
Hmm.
who leads by example, who does him things himself to tell the and who creates more leaders.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
for a leader, empathy is very important. To be empathetic, only if you're empathetic can you connect with your subordinates, with your team members, to understand their problems. Instead of telling them that you have to do this work because I am the leader and I have asked you to do it, asking them that what is it that that will make you happy, that will, you know, this is the project we have,
Hmm.
and these are the different roles that we have to take care of, or different assignments within the project that we have to handle. So instead of assigning your team members and telling them, okay, you will do this, 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 or you will do this, asking them that out of these, what do you think are you more comfortable handling?
Hmm.
Which responsibility will you like to take on?
Yeah.
And giving them that responsibility Also, believing in them, that yes, if he said he can do it, means he can do it. So give him a chance to finish the work. And instead of criticizing because you're a leader and you want to show your authority, try to find something good in that and appreciate.
Hmm.
I think that really helps.
Okay. So you're saying is you should be empathetic is first, and
So you
then
should,
start communicating in a fashion that they feel they are included one, and
absolutely. So,
they are part of the solution nor the problem that we are, and we take it as a collective effort, right? That's what you're
absolutely.
saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, communicating a clear vision, that this
Hmm.
is my vision, articulating it in the right manner so that the message is conveyed in the right manner, the same
Yeah.
manner as you think, demonstrating empathy, which we just talked about, which I feel is the most important, and then everything follows. So, highlighting the achievements of your team members. Um, we discussed leading
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
examples and then providing a purpose to them, so that they feel a part and they want to do something because they see that purpose in it.
Yes. Now, what are some pitfalls these people take when we look at persuasion, trying to avoid or engage on a audience subconsciously?
We most of the time we ignore the non-verbal cues.
Hmm.
We are not very attentive when it
We
comes to
listen for the sake
listening.
of listening. That's the point
Yes,
that
we
you're
listen
talking
for the
about.
we hear them out, but we don't listen to them carefully.
Okay.
So when you're listening to somebody, it is like, okay, I'm on my mobile doing something and I'm listening to you. So carry
Hmm.
on. That is what most of the time we do. Or we're
Okay.
working on our laptop or maybe checking some files or reading a book and just
Hmm.
listening. But hearing them out by keeping tag on these non-verbal cues,
Hmm.
their facial expressions, their voice tonality, their body language, gestures.
Yeah.
That is one pitfall that I feel we have.
Okay.
Then, when we tell somebody to be empathetic, we start over doing things, and it does not look too authentic. Or at times we overcomplicate the messages
Yeah,
instead
I
of.
think I tell my team here in any organization that I've been. Technology is simple, but we
Hmm,
want to have it more secure and stuff like that. We complicate it to a stage where we, at a juncture, we only don't know how do we solve this puzzle. So
absolutely.
it becomes so complex that we would have introduced so many pieces in that whole structure which was straight, and we've complicated, and then we say technology is complex. So even the same thing is with communication. We don't talk about a straight communication. We feel people get offended. So we talk on many things going rounds and rounds and finally telling the message.
Absolutely.
If you recall the Three Idiots thing, he talks about the motor one, right? He
Yes,
says, "किताबी वाली बताओ." So he'll say, "कहना क्या चाहते हो?" Sir, induction motor. So
true,
if I
true.
say induction motor, people would have not taken his point. But he told, "ये चलता है वो." He'll give you a big this one,
They'll
and
give
then
you a
finally he
complete.
says,
We work more on giving a prelude to what we
"Yeah,
want to say than coming to the point and actually
concept,
saying what is to be said.
yeah,
So the essence of the entire communication gets diluted and
very good."
it gets missed somewhere. Then
Oh,
lack of authenticity.
yeah,
We want to show we are something,
yeah,
but are we really that? Most of us, we believe in pretending, maybe because of a FOMO. We don't want to be missed out. We don't want people to judge us, we don't want people to think about us in a certain manner. So we
Hmm.
become very pretentious in what we
Yes,
do
yes.
and how we behave.
True.
Then failing to address the emotional needs of yourself and of others. So if you are not in the right frame of mind, or if your health is an issue, just because you want to stay in somebody's good books, you keep overexerting, and then you take that frustration out somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
So instead of doing that, addressing the problem and telling that yes, this is what the problem is, can we maybe delay it, postpone it, or do it some other way, or is it okay if somebody else takes care of this particular thing, will
And
make things
I
less
think
complicated.
you're right in saying that. I'll add, sorry to tell you that. What happens is when you need help, you can ask. We don't ask, first point. We think we can do it. And we go to a juncture where we cannot take help because the time is up and we have to finish it. So we finish something, and that 99% of the time is not what right they want. So it so becomes that we create an obligation for ourselves without asking help. And if we have asked help, you would have got at least 50-60% where we said, yeah, this is about 40-50% which I expected. And if you can add this, is what the customer or the other person will say, this is where I think there is a gap. So if you can look at that way, the whole process of getting 30, 40, 50% done, and you say this is an improvement that can be done, right? So that is,
Absolutely.
I think, one of the process that we should follow. And we always, as you rightly said, we go around in circles, we talk, and then we don't get the actual point by the time it is done.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
then inconsistent messaging.
yeah,
So we should always ensure that consistency across communications. You
communication.
know, the channel of communication these days, unfortunately, has become WhatsApp, and
What's
where
that?
half of the messages are inconsistent,
Correct.
incomplete, and you expect the other person to fill in the blanks and
Yeah, we
understand
have
what
to
we
think
mean.
in lines, in middle of lines, end of
True.
lines, and stuff like that. Now, coming there, how do professionals strike a balance, which is logical argument and emotional appeals in their persuasion strategies? Because now you say, when I talk to you on a point, at times people feel, oh, he's targeting me. The other way is when we talk something, oh, he's overbossing me. So there are two ways that we look at. One is logical arguments, the other is emotional appeals. How do we look at this as a persuasion strategy, Radhika?
That's a beautiful question, Prem, and we all these are I'm so happy that you brought up these topic and these questions today, because these are certain things we all talk about or want to know about, but we really don't address these
Yeah.
problems. So again, starting with emotions, so capturing the attention and creating a connection through stories or through emotional appeals is, I think, a very good way to start.
Hmm.
So, like, we also talk about small talks, and you
Yeah.
find a common ground between the two of you which you can discuss. It could be a sport, it could be a book written by
Hmm.
some author. So, uh, capturing the attention by talking about something that interests the other person, keeping in mind that the conversation is not all about you, but it is
Hmm.
about the person you are talking to, giving him that importance in the conversation. So, if I give you importance, will you want to listen to me? But if I'm just boasting about myself or talking about myself, after a point, you will be disinterested, and probably in your head you will think कि ये कब चुप करेगी, हो गया बहुत सुन लिया अभी.
Yeah.
Then supporting with logic, so providing the datas wherever required, facts, and giving a very logical argument, especially
Hmm.
if we talk about children today, this generation. They will not listen to you or believe in what you're saying and doing just because you have said that.
Hmm.
Our parents, my mother sitting in my background,
Yeah.
as you can see, they would tell us certain things, ye karo, and we would quietly do it.
Yeah.
Or just because बड़ों ने बोला है तो मानना है, so it is maybe it has to be done this way.
Right.
But today's generation, they want a logical reasoning for everything, an explanation for everything, that why should it be done? What is
Hmm.
the reason behind it?
Yeah.
So even the freshers who join the companies,
Hmm.
they may not agree with their bosses as much. So
Right.
giving that logical reason and satisfying their reasoning, then probably once you've understood that why it should be done,
Hmm.
they will not question you and they will focus on doing what they are supposed to do.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Then,
Okay.
sorry, you were saying
Yeah,
something.
I know, but yeah.
So, visual, using visuals,
Hmm.
so incorporating the visuals to illustrate. So, most of us, we do our presentations through PPTs these days, and you would see a lot of PPTs having too much of text or bullet points in them.
Yeah.
And while sitting through that presentation, you become disoriented and disinterested in actually seeing what is happening.
Right.
So instead of putting bullet points there on the slide, might as well put a visual which is related to what you're explaining. So when the person looks at a visual and listens to what you're saying, is able to connect better and
Hmm.
even understand the things better.
Yeah. No, that's what they say, right? A picture talks 1,000 words. So if I
Absolutely.
put a picture and just put that picture, it does. And you spoke about this sometime back. Apple did not have much of words and stuff. They had a picture of AirPod, and that they said it is a noise cancellation stuff, and
Yes.
they had people around is what you were talking about. So a picture takes lot of gives lot of information rather than putting it in text.
Absolutely. And also, there are times most of us, especially the CEOs, you know,
Hmm.
they are so used to addressing people in a certain manner
Hmm.
or addressing a certain segment of people that they not consciously but subconsciously forget that we have to understand the dynamics, the demography of our audience,
Yeah.
where they come from, who they are. Maybe their family backgrounds is very different from ours,
Hmm.
the cultural differences, all of that. So, tailoring whatever you have to say according to your audience is very important. So, if I remember the last time we had a talk on appearance,
Hmm.
and I did mention this one example of somebody going to a village and addressing some a group of people from an NGO
Hmm.
in a business suit and speaking
Yeah,
mostly
we
in
did this.
English.
Yes, we did.
Those people will not understand and connect with you. They will just know somebody came, spoke something, and went back.
So I
But if
think
you
that's
press
the
on
same
to
statement
make
you made
yourself,
last time. Yeah, last time you made a statement also when being in Rome. Be a
yes, as
Roman.
the
Yeah,
Romans
so
did.
that's the point that you made last time when we were discussing. I think that's
Absolutely.
very clearly coming out saying that you need to talk to your audience in such a way that you subconsciously connect, engage them. And that
Absolutely.
engagement can happen only when you are in their level. So, or
Very true.
their way of they want to hear you out. So
So,
that is more what you're talking about, right, Radhika?
absolutely. So, a lot of speakers also do this mistake when they are speakers, be it a professional speaker or a motivational speaker
Hmm.
or just any public speaker. They feel that speaking in English gives them an edge over the others as a
Yeah,
speaker.
yeah,
But then we live in India where majority do not speak in English
yes.
or do not understand your English. So if you're in a particular state, it is perfectly fine to add few
I think,
maybe sentences in Hindi or a regional language if you know the language.
I think there was one speaker, Radhika, in our sessions only, where he said, "See, I don't know English in fluence. I can speak, but मैं बीच बीच में हिंदी use करूँगा." So this is one thing, and the second point is my circle of friends are predominantly, as you rightly said, my circle of friends are predominantly Hindi speaking, and they like when you give an example that should be in that language that gives more connect to them, and that's where they connect to you better. So मैं हिंदी यूज करता हूँ. Many people say you should not when you are having this one, but how do you localize a discussion is you make it that local language being present in your discussions. One is that.
Exactly.
On my personal experience, what I've seen is my connects on to the customer environments is more on the regional level. Now, being in South, okay, in Bangalore, we tend to speak about 3 to 4 languages minimum, right? So if it is a customer who's in Kannadiga, Kannada speaking guy, you use 2 3 words in Kannada, that guy will connect to you better.
Absolutely,
Similar
I
goes
agree.
with Tamil people speaking. It's similar goes to my mother tongue, Telugu. You know somebody is a Telugu speaking guy. You just say you 1 or 2 words. Especially, I love the Keralites. They will say first. They will talk about if they will see you and tell you that you are a Kerala guy. Then there's first is where are you from, and that ends everything. Their barriers of connecting starts there.
Absolutely. I totally agree, and I'll give you some examples of this. So, I am a multilingual. I have this knack of picking up languages, and so there may not be many languages which I speak fluently, but I definitely do understand them,
Yeah.
and I probably can speak few sentences in them. Nepali being one of the languages I'm very fluent with.
Okay.
So every time when my kids were small and we would go out to a restaurant for dinner, and if they would see a Nepalese wait staff, they
Hmm.
would tell me, "Mama, आप इसकी language में बात करो." Then they give an extra portion of chicken. So how languages can really connect you with people, and since my husband is from a Sikh regiment,
Okay.
we have only six in our. The soldiers are all six, but
Okay.
the officers are from all around the place. So we have officers from Kerala, from Andhra, from many other places. One of the officers, I remember, he's from Kerala,
Hmm.
but he speaks better Punjabi even than the Punjabis do.
Okay.
And he would
Okay.
make it a point to speak with all the Jawans in their mother tongue
Mother tongue.
while addressing them. So that develops a bond and a
Yeah.
instant connect with the people you are around with.
In most of the places, as I was telling, so I've been into Middle East as well for few projects. I went there, but when I went there, we found most of them are Indians. And when you speak in that language, the bond, because you talk to them in their local language, they feel so much proud that in a foreign country as well, there is somebody who talks in their native language. That gives, and they'll be available for you to be at yours because they love their language. They want to hear their way of talking. So that becomes a very strong bond, is what I felt. Now, coming there, how should one adapt persuasion techniques when dealing with diverse audience, such as cultural backgrounds and professional levels? That's what we've been talking about. So,
Yes.
is there any specific points that we should look at when we talk about cultural barriers or cultural backgrounds?
So, yes, as we just were talking about cultural backgrounds, taking it from there, taking ahead from the same place where we were, I guess researching the audience
Hmm.
before addressing them is very important to
True.
understand their cultural norms, values, and expectations.
Hmm.
So even if you do not know the language, but learning just the greetings in that language, and before you start conversing with them, greet them in their language, makes them feel important, makes them feel that, yes, as you said, proud that somebody is trying, take making that effort
Yeah.
to be with us and to be a part of us.
So we have Priyanka who says connecting with the audience is key. So I brought it onto the screen. You can
Yeah.
see Priyanka says that's one key pointer. Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Absolutely. Connecting with the audience is very important, and that is the key. Uh, then adjusting the communication style. So
Styles.
maybe even if it is talking in Hindi,
Hmm.
people in Delhi speak Hindi in a different way.
Right.
People in Mumbai would speak Hindi in a different way. Or if you go to UP or Bihar or even down south, they all have their different ways of
Speaking Hindi.
speaking. So, modifying your language and the tone and formality to match the audience or the local people of that place where you have gone to address them will also help you connect. So,
Hmm.
modifying or adjusting your communication style, and then using relatable examples, maybe something that is from their place, picking
Hmm.
up. So you do your proper research so that you find examples related to your topic from their regional stories or examples from that region, which they have maybe heard before and they can connect better with.
Hmm.
They can resonate with it in a better manner. Then being respectful and inclusive. So not being arrogant, show respect to their culture, show respect to them, show respect to their ethnicity,
Hmm.
to their religion, maybe, and then strive for inclusivity, ask questions,
Yeah.
tell them to respond or make them respond, let them speak, let them share their views and thoughts about what you're talking about. It really helps. And another thing is feedbacks, which we call feed forwards in PSAI, because we don't call them feedbacks but feed forwards. So
Okay.
continuously seeking for feed forwards or feedbacks for improvement in your own self, to adapt your approach to those people accordingly. So, yeah, I think these are a few points which I feel, and I would definitely love either Priyanka or other people in the audience to share their views, what they feel about it.
Yeah. If anybody wants to put a comment, you can put it over here. This is a link that we have for you to share your comments or come online. You can join us on this link, and we'll be happy to take you to the screen and ask your question. Going to the next pointer, that and the last pointer that we want to do it in our session is how can professionals continually improve their persuasion skills, and what resources or practices would recommend for them, Radhika?
Well, So, for professionals continuously improving their persuasion skills,
Hmm.
I would say regular practice. So, being a speaker, I would talk about maybe public speaking or engaging in public speaking, presentations, or discussions to hone the skill
Hmm.
is very important. So, practice it regularly. And well, we usually say, like we take the 21 day or a 40-day challenge, even when it comes to going to the gym, going for a run. So anything that you do regularly every day for 21 or 40 days, it gets into your subconscious self and becomes a habit. It gets into your muscle memory. And if you don't do it, then you feel that you're missing out on something.
Yeah.
So, for that, yes, regular practice is very important. Seeking feedbacks to understand where are you going wrong and
Hmm.
how is it that you can improve upon yourself. What are the skills you need to work upon? Studying the experts, maybe watching some TEDx videos or reading books, listening to audiobooks, listening to renowned speakers, uh, doing some courses for that matter, where you can keep upskilling yourself every time is again very important. It plays a very important role. Joining different communities, so participating in professional groups or
Hmm.
workshops or forums to understand things better, taking the perspective of the other person,
Yeah.
understanding that, and focusing on your communication skills, how to make your communication more effective. Are people really understanding you the way you understand yourself, or how you want them to understand you? Are you
Okay.
able to communicate in the right manner? And then staying informed again. If you're talking about something, or if you're in a discussion with somebody on a particular topic, if you're not well informed, shows a very poor image of you.
Hmm.
Either you do accept that, okay, I do not have much knowledge, or I have no interest in this field, but since you're talking about it, I would really like to know more about things,
No.
and then going back and reading about it. But staying informed really helps. So keep up with the latest research and trends in the subject that you deal with. Your communication through academic journals,
Hmm.
blogs, seminars, all of that, reading them, staying updated really helps. So these are the few things. And going back to the book where I picked up the core pillars from,
Hmm.
by Robert Cialdini. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. The book's name is Influence. It's a very
Okay.
good book. So maybe if somebody likes to read that, then there's
I'll
another
I'll drop a link on the comments. Influence, right? Yeah, I'll drop a link.
Influence.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
I'll,
just in a private message, I'll just share the name of the author with you.
yeah. So I think with that, as Radhika shares the name, I think I've taken some notes. I'm just seeing on the screen here of mine, which I have not taken this. We spoke about understanding persuasion. We spoke about the foundational techniques, and we spoke on core principles of persuasion that every professional, from freshers to CEOs, should understand. How do we engage subconsciously is what we spoke some real time examples, daily challenges, current insights that we spoke, and some practical tips also we spoke about, and common pitfalls also we discussed on. We did well upon a case study, We also spoke about logical and emotional path where logical arguments and emotional appeals on persuading strategies. We spoke about it, and adapting to different cultures is one thing that we spoke, which is very crucial, and we had a lengthy discussion on that. Then we have summarized on what could be our course of journey in terms of the skills that we should look at this topic, which is our physiology of persuasion, engaging your audience subconsciously. Yeah, that's the kind of summary that I had. Radhika, thanks for being here with us today, and we love the way we have got things delivered today. I think it's been an amazing session so far. We are live on LinkedIn, which is our primary platform, and we stream it directly to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook simultaneously. Hope this discussion was valuable for you as an audience. And Radhika, thank you for the great insights that you have shared. Any last things that you would like to add, Radhika, before I conclude?
Um, Thank you so much, Prem, and it's always a pleasure being here and sharing my views with you. Yes, one last thing. So it's very important. As I have been doing a series on presence, which is engagement, clarity, impact,
Hmm.
authenticity, and
Yeah.
confidence. So I would really request you all to engage in my series on LinkedIn on
Yeah.
these topics. I've done 3 posts already and I have 2 more to go. Uh, Being confident, being authentic, being your true self is very important to have that credibility, to have that clarity and confidence while you're speaking, and to be able to engage with your audience well. So keep
I
learning and
think, yeah, Radhika, I think what we have spoken in our three sessions that we had with you, one was Prelude to Everlasting Impressions, is the first session that we
yes,
did.
that was the first one.
Then we've spoken about Unseen Power, Business Etiquette, as a catalyst for leaders' influence. And today we are discussing on physiology of persuasion, engaging your audience subconsciously. So these are
Absolutely.
the topics what Radhika does and is an image sculpture. I am bringing up her LinkedIn page link here. You can follow her and you can connect with her on a one-to-one session or a discussion that you would like to have. Radhika, hope I'm putting the right link there.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And our next podcast session is on strategic career planning, setting goals and achieving success on the 5th of August, which is going to be at 6:30 p.m. IST. Looking forward for that. And thank you, Radhika, again. And bye for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prem, for having me over. It
Yeah,
was a pleasure.
thank you.